Meeting called to order. Let the record reflect all board members are present with the exception of Mr. Matthew Kern. The chair would like to entertain a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of reviewing with superintendent of schools and attorney for Board of Education legal issues pertaining to possible meeting with former coach. Reviewing with the superintendent of schools and attorney of Board of Education legal issues pertaining to possible appointment of former coach to coaching position. 3, reviewing with superintendent of schools and attorney for Board of Education legal issues pertaining to letter from concerned parent concerning cross-country practice. 4, reviewing situation concerning vacancy in position of district clerk. 5, reviewing with superintendent of schools letter from parent complaining about administrator. 6, reviewing with superintendent of schools and attorney for Board of Education legal issues pertaining to cross-country coach email to parents of student athletes. 7, reviewing with superintendent of schools and interim assistant superintendent for human resources various personnel issues. 8, reviewing with superintendent of schools and attorney for Board of Education legal issues pertaining to possible creation of director of school facilities position. 9, reviewing with superintendent of schools and attorney for Board of Education legal issues pertaining to public participation portion of board meetings in relation to existing board policy. 10, reviewing with superintendent of schools and attorney for Board of Education legal issues pertaining to public statement to be made by board president concerning coaching position. 11, reviewing with superintendent of schools and attorney for Board of Education legal issues pertaining to adding the board policy to board policy 2350, a board member comment section. Move, please.
So moved.
Paul, thank you. Second.
Second.
Mr. McKenzie,
Okay.
thank you. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Abstains, nay, move. Motion to adjourn executive and call public session to order. Please stand for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the record reflect again, all members of the Board of Education are present with the exception of Mr. Matthew Kern. Minutes of the meetings of July 10th, August 9th, and July 10th reorg are being tabled, so we will not be taking a vote on them today. Superintendent's comments?
We have a very special guest here, Sandy Jeanette, our representative with Rockland BOCES. So Sandy, would you please come forward?
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Sandy.
Nice to see some familiar faces. I represent Suffern Central on the Rockland BOCES Board of Education. There are 9 of us. Each one of us represents one of the Rockland school districts, and then we have one person who is a member at large. So that makes up the Rockland BOCES Board with 9 members. I brought tonight with me, who's going to talk about some programs, Kim Bell, who's the principal of the Career Technical Education at BOCES. So, Kim, thank you very much, Dr. Adams. I'll give you this out then.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Dr. Adams, for giving me the opportunity to address your board. I understand that many of you, I see everybody, that many of you are new in your position. So I just wanted to take a couple moments to just talk about the logistics of CTEC and how we operate. We have 3 different programs at CTEC. We have our TASK program, which is formerly the GED, where students get a high school equivalency diploma. And then we have our regular CTEC programs that most of you know about, the auto, the cosmetology, and we have 2 different levels of those. We have our CTE level program and our CSP level program, which I'll get a little bit into the differences in those in a minute. So when you send a student to CTEC, they come to us for a programs are structured for students with disabilities who have IEPs, who need a smaller class size, who need the curriculum delivered at a little bit of a slower pace. Students in those programs typically are either pursuing a skills achievement or a CDOS credential and are going right out into the workforce. We never say that a CSP student does not go to college, because we have had that happen as well. And these students also pursue industry credentials, which makes them much more employable when upon completion of their education. Our CTE level programs, they've changed a lot. I can say career and technical education has changed a great deal over my 22 years working in the field. Our students that participate in career tech ed are earning multiple industry certifications, and I'll give some examples of that. And they're also earning college credits. We have an agreement with Rockland Community College where our students are getting transcriptable or transportable college credits that they can take with them and transfer them to colleges all over the country. So a perfect example of that is our criminal justice and fire science program. Students that spend 2 years in that program can graduate with 6 college credits, and they also earn certifications in New York State Security Guard, Firefighter 1, which now has a different name that I can never remember, so I apologize for that, and also 911 dispatch, CPR, and AED. So they're leaving with 4 different certifications plus the college credits. Within our digital design program, students can earn up to 4 Adobe certifications, and that's the software used in digital design, and also 6 college credits. Students at our Health Science Academy can earn patient care technician certification, they can earn New York State nursing assistant certification, and 3 college credits through RCC. So again, as you can see, things have changed quite a lot in the career tech field. Now for some specific district data. Your enrollments at CTEC last year were 41. This year, they're 57. So we are in growth mode at CTEC, not only here at Suffern Central, but also across the county. We're actually starting the school year with 80 more students than we did last year, which for us, that's quite a lot, considering we're such a small county. Scholarships were really impressive for students in Suffern Central last year. $241,000 students that came to Suffern Central, our shared students, earned. We had one student who graduated from our Health Academy. She's a certified nurse assistant. She did multiple rotations in different healthcare facilities across the county. So she not only got the classroom experience, she got the real world experience. Now she's got her certification, and she earned a $40,000 scholarship to Dominican College, where she is pursuing a nursing degree. Another student, I love these stories, I could go on and on all night, but I know I have limited time. A student named Nick, who came through our auto program. His parents always keep us updated on how he's doing. He earned a scholarship to Ohio Technical College, as well as multiple ASE, or Automotive Service Excellence certifications while he was with us. We love acronyms in education in general, especially with CTE. And while he was he's pursuing a degree in diesel equipment technology. And while he was there, he totally thrived. He found his niche and he took off. He is on the leadership council. He earned honor roll, perfect attendance, and he's a student leader. So, I just wanted to share that story. We always love hearing about what our graduates are doing. What's new at CTEC? So because we are in growth mode, that allows us to expand programming, which is always a lot of fun. Over the past 3 years, we've incorporated a new welding program, which we just expanded for this coming school year. Cyber technology, where you all know the jobs, it's a hot area right now. And students coming out with cyber technology degrees are earning a lot of money. And starting this September, we are starting an animal science program, where we'll have one section that will be a CSP level for the students with disabilities, and the other section will be more like a vet science program on the CTE level. Okay. Lastly, because we know that we have a growing number of English language learners across the county, districts have asked us to help out with that and add supports within our current programming. So we're adding an ENL task program to our course schedule. So we're adding language supports to our current task program. And also, just as an aside, we typically have 2 or 3 students from Suffern that come through our task program during the course of the year. And we're also adding language supports to certain CTE and CSP programs, different ones that we've handpicked that will, evaluate the students and decide what's the best placement for them. So just one more comment. I always get a lot of questions about our teachers. Our CTE teachers are typically career changers, and quite honestly, they could make a lot more money working in their chosen field. However, these are people that have decided that they want to dedicate themselves or for the remainder of their time working to children. So I have a very, very passionate crew of teachers, and that's seen by the amount of industry certifications and college credits that they bring in to just add to their programs. So as I said earlier, the career in tech has changed quite a bit over the past 2 decades that I've been working in it. We really value our partnership with Suffern Central, and it's really wonderful to see the numbers in CTech increasing, and we hope that we can continue our partnership for a very long time. So does anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
Any
So,
questions?
You have a lot of acronyms in there. So, in a nutshell, 2 or 3 sentences, summarize it for us about the program. All the great things. There's so many great things. You've got vocational, new programs, increase in enrollment, scholarships. Try to just hit us with quick bullet points.
Okay.
None of the acronyms.
Okay.
Thank you.
We give students opportunity to learn employability skills that will help them into the workforce or into post-secondary, or for most of our students, for both. So, students that are interested in one of our programs, they get to, I tell the students when I do recruitment, it's test driving what you want to do. And a success for us is even if you don't like it, because before mom, dad spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on college, you know whether you like this particular field or not.
And for the benefit of the board, especially the new board members, the program for Suffern Central had been on a decline for a while. And so I think the new initiatives, the new programs, the cybersecurity, all these new offerings for the kids is why we're seeing the rise. It's almost a 50% increase this year, and so we're looking forward to a strong partnership with BOCES. So thank you for coming over this evening.
Thank you for your time.
On behalf of the board, I'd like to thank Sandy Jeanette for being our representative on the BOCES board. I don't know if a lot of people know that. Thank you for that. And I would like to thank Ms. Campbell, the principal of Career Technical Education, for the presentation, all the work you do with our students. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
And I think being a board member and not being a professional staff at BOCES, I think what struck me most is what Kim said, that students who come out of this program, if they're not on the disability track, many of them become industry certified in the field that they've chosen. And that's a leg up right there, whether it's automotive or anything else.
Healthcare. So, thank you. Thank you very much.
I think I skipped a couple.
Dr. Adams will continue with his segment.
So also under my comments will be the tax rate calculation and the reserve balances, and all that's under my comments. I won't be presenting. It will be Teresa Soldi. Anthony's in the back of the room. Do you want to slide up front in case there's any additional questions? Thank you, Anthony.
You don't want to give it a crack?
Okay, so every year, this time of year, we have to set the tax rate for the district residents. And being that, we always give a summary, but this year, because we have 3 new board members, we want to give you a little idea of what goes into the tax rate calculation. May, we vote on a budget, and we think, okay, we're gonna have this 2% increase, that's what we voted on this year, or it's 1.5, whatever it is. There's many other factors that influence the tax rate itself, which is the actual amount that's collected by the town and what that percentage goes up. So some of the factors are the levy amount, which we all decided on when we voted. But a big factors are the assessed value of our town, which we're actually in 3 towns, but the majority is Ramapo. There's also some state lands in Haverstraw and Tuxedo that are part of this district. And the equalization rates for the town, which vary depending on what's going on. And some of the exemptions. Over a couple years ago, we voted on the veterans tax exemption. That affects other people. It's not a ton of money, but it's not taxes. And we have some other exemptions for clergy, firefighters that affect us as well. Once you put all those factors together, that's how we get the rate per thousand. So the tax levy itself is the amount the taxpayers are going to spend. We calculate that based on our budget. After we get all our state aid or any other kind of revenue, that's how we come up with the number that's going to be assessed to the taxpayers. And it's different by town. Again, we have a little bit in Haverstraw, a little bit in Tuxedo, but the majority is the town. So just to give you an idea, we do this every year, what the assessed value has been. Except for a couple of times that actually the one in 14-15 was actually something the town did that maybe kind of there was a property that really should have been non-taxable and they put it back on. Our taxable value, our assessed value has been going down significantly. Last year it went down like 8 or 9 million, this year it's over 6 million. That has a big effect on the rest of the taxpayers whose assessed value is not changing. This year, the assessment was for 2 reasons, really. Squires Gate homes was where the flooding was. Those have now been bought out by the state. Those become 0 assessed value. That's $600,000-$700,000 of assessed value. And then there's a utility agreement that the town entered into with the school district a few years ago. That is part of the reason our assessed value has been going down every year. Next year, it'll have some sort of significant impact as well. Once we get all the information from the different towns, you can see that the assessed value in total is over $600 million. But you have this equalization rate. Haverstraw a few years ago actually was at 100% of the taxable value, but over the years that's changed, as everything does, and we come up with a true tax rate. But as you see, 96.75% of this is the town of Ramapo. Because of the rate change and because of the assessed value change and the equalization rate change, even though we raised taxes 2% levy to levy, so the amount that we charged last year versus the amount this year was 2%, you can see that the taxes are going up 2.93% in the town of Ramapo. So I always talk about that when we do the budget, that we really have to pay attention. That even though, you got to say, oh, it's going up 2%, but it never goes up that amount. It's usually higher. So you can see now the rate per thousand is $191. So over the years, the same years that we were looking at before, this shows you, which is very interesting, what the tax levy was, so the percentage we thought we were raising it. Even in 16-17, when we had raised the taxes a dime in total, the taxes went up almost 1%. So this year it's 2%, but it's 2.93. And that's a factor of the assessed value and the equalization. Does anybody have questions on that before I go over to the reserve? Okay. Get it all, huh? Now we'll look at the fund balance and the reserve balances. So when we do the end of year budget, we look at our revenue in total, our expenditures in total, other factors of the change in encumbrances, some of the interest we might get, some of the reserve projects that the public has voted on that we're going to move into the capital fund, and then how much money needs to go into some of these reserves that we've set up over the years. You know, we have the tax surcharge reserve, which we have at 100%. It's 100%. Last week, I've gotten more and more in, so it's not 100% anymore. Those numbers are constantly changing. Or in the summer, we keep getting them. Last year, for the first time, we had set up an employee benefits reserve, and that's for, that's for benefits of when we have the retirement incentive. We could set up a reserve for the portion of the retirement incentive that's actually a benefit. So we're paying people sick days when they leave, the teachers. Actually, we pay all our people, some sort, not all of you, but most of them, some sort of number for sick days that we could put in a reserve. We used to put it in the budget. It makes it a little cleaner now because now we have an idea what it's going to be. And if it fluctuates all over the place, at least we have some sort of reserve for at least part of it. And then we have the employee retirement reserve. Now, that was another one a couple years ago, but even though that is much, much smaller than the teacher's retirement reserve, we're still able to put in about 2 years' worth, which we don't have a full 2 years, for the employees reserve, so that a big number, because over the years, if you paid attention a few years ago, the rates went through the roof. And that severely impacted our budget of how much we could spend because we were well over what we thought it was going to be. So over the years, the tax, and I do an employee's benefit, I think in January, and you'll see the fluctuations in those numbers. And in the end, when we did all these calculations, basically we had $1.4 million left over. What we had talked about is setting, it's our capital reserve, which we voted on not this year, last year, that we could put away up to $10 million for future capital projects. This year, with what we have left over, we were able to put away $1.4 million. Okay? I just want to show you some of the petitions. Many of them we get every year. This is what causes what actually was a $4.2 million tax discretionary possible liability. These are all the names of the big companies. Those in red are the ones that we didn't have last year. So you see, many times you'll see the same ones over and over, but this year we have a few extra ones. It's a lot of money, and it's gone up significantly over the years. So I just want to show you, because you'll see on the resolution that you have to do, and also I'm showing that it's $1.9 million, even though the new taxes are 4.2, we settled some claims. They came out of the reserve, which we do every year, and then there's some interest that gets added to the reserve because obviously we're earning interest on our money, and that's why your resolution, even though it's $4.2 million in new potential liabilities, we're only putting away 1.9. Okay. So this breaks out the reserves a little bit easier for everyone to see. For example, the capital reserve, we have $3.3 million. We have a little interest. What I said we had left over, the 1.4, that we're putting in there. And then we're transferring to the capital fund actually the last 2 years of approved budget vote projects. The tax cert reserve, again, it's a net change of $1.9 million, but it's 4.2 less than 2 million plus that we either paid out some of it and we didn't need it. Unemployment reserve is just used to, that fluctuates all over the place. Some years it's much larger, some years it's smaller. Obviously a few years ago when we laid off a lot of people, it was $200,000 or $300,000. So it's just a reserve we do not put it in the budget, which is good, so we don't have to think about it, it's right there. The insurance reserve we used over the years for capital project issues. You know we had a problem a couple years ago with DM, with the middle school and the signs and all that work they did there. Even before that, we had another problem with another budget that we did for the big projects at the middle school. But that's something we want to take down and over the next couple of years. Debt service reserve is actually interest that we earned when we borrowed on the bonds originally, because we had a $65 million project and then we had an $18 million project. And then interest rates were good. So we had to borrow obviously before we needed the money to spend, so we made some money on that. That can only be used to pay down debt. And as you are all aware, we're going to have a big cliff starting next year between our debt and our aid. So because it's going to be over $2.5 million, I believe, next year, we want to use some of that money and some of the insurance reserve to start helping us so that we don't have this big shortfall we have to go to the taxpayers for. The employee benefits reserve, I explained a little before, this is the amount of money if people left tomorrow, anyone that's 55 or 62, and anyone who had a balance year of vacation for the 12-month employees, we might have to pay out if they all left. But this is only the benefits portion, it's not the total reserve. And the employee retirement reserve, which we can put up to 2 years, which is about $1.3 million each year, so we're not even close to 2 years. That's for just employees, so that's not any kind of certified people or teachers. They don't allow that reserve. They talk about it all the time, and it'd be nice if they actually did. Oops. Oh. So this shows you a little bit about the reserve analysis, and I've talked a little bit about this. The capital reserve are projects within there were outlined in our 10-year plan. As you know, we voted on some of them this year. We voted on some of them last year. We'll continue to improve issues in our building. I believe Anthony last year or the year before gave us a little bit of outline of how we were going to spend basically $17 million. $7 million would come out of the budget over 10 years, and $10 million would come out of the reserve, which we need to fund, which is why I want to put the 1.4 in there. The tax certiorari reserve also, we use it when we settle reserves, but that's something that's probably going to have to reduce as this building aid over the next few years decreases and we have this big shortfall. We're not going to be able to be at 100% anymore. The unemployment reserve, that's unbudgeted, so we have a reserve out there to pay for that. The insurance reserve also, it's used for uninsured expenses. Again, we're going to reduce that over the next year or two to pay for some of these building aid issues. Debt service, like I explained, is only used for debt payments. It will also cover some of the building aid. The employee benefits is for, we used to budget for the retirement incentive. We used to budget approximately half of what we thought we could pay, or we might have a liability of. But we don't budget it anymore. We have the reserve out there, much cleaner. And the last one is the employee retirement reserve. Again, like I was saying a few years ago, we had these huge fluctuations in these rates. They went through the roof and they cost us a ton of money. And that's probably part of the reason that we had to think about changing some of the things that we were doing because we had this big amount that we had to add. So we want to keep it a little more consistent and have a reserve.
Thanks, Teresa.
Any questions?
I understand this pretty much because I just know from all the years. But I do have a question.
Sure.
It's about OPEB, other employment benefits. What happened was that they changed the rules and they wanted governments to fund the expenses that you're going to have in the future for people who are going to retire in the future. So it's not pay as you go for health insurance for those people who are going to turn 65 and retire and pay for it then. They actually want you to save for it in the future. I'm just wondering if there's anything in that employment benefit reserve that's for OPEB.
Not. Yeah, it's a little lower this year, but it's like 80, 90
billion.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, now that we have this shortfall for the building fund, it's kind of hard to reserve for those other things that are like the other retirement benefits that you have for people. And what some places are doing, they're just doing a little bit at a time just to show good faith that they're putting money aside.
Right, yeah, there are some. And that's kind of like what we're trying. Hopefully they'll have a tax cert reserve. They'll set that up so we'll be able to put some money away. I don't know what's going to happen in the next few years. We probably won't have the money to put away. But at least like this year, we're able to put a little bit more away for that. Yeah, it's huge numbers for us. We're never going to be able to put it away. But if you have that little cushion at least, so that the rates go up because of everything that's going on. And you'll see in January when we do the employees' benefits, that you'll see our retirees and our active employees get closer every year. Right. So we're going to have as many retirees soon as we have active employees that we're paying for.
Right.
And it's a smaller number dollar-wise
Because of Medicare.
Because of Medicare, exactly. But
it also for if you ever looked at the financial statements of the school district, you would see in a footnote that talks about the other retirement benefits, OPEB, and they'll show you that $80 million that's out there. It just happens to be unfunded. In most places, it is unfunded. I mean, when you have a very rich community and they collect enough taxes, they'll start funding for it. But it's rare.
Yes, it's very rare. But it's good to see it because I'm sure that the first time for everybody, it was very eye-opening to see how much money we have in potential liability over the years. So it's a big, huge number. Very good number.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Okay, so if I could go back to this tax reserve slide, I think it's just 2 before the last.
He's gonna help me out.
It's towards the bottom.
Eric's gonna help me out. I don't think so. So, on to the last one.
Oh, you got it?
Okay, we got it.
Perfect.
This one? The one before? The one before, there you go.
That, yeah. So basically the way I understand this, because I'm an accountant, like Melissa, so my questions are simpler. That the 1904, the one, I can't even read numbers, 1,904,149 is money that was older certs and has to be.
No.
Okay.
What happened was this year we had 4 million to a new ones. But some came back that were settled for zero, were settled, like we paid, so Novartis 600 something thousand, but then one of the years was settled for zero, that came back in. So this is basically the net number that we have to transfer. If I did it differently, I would have put 4 million in and taken 2 million out. But instead of that, we're just doing a net number.
But it's not those that are aging certs?
No, you'll see that in the actual, the resolution. You'll see the 3 years, those older than 3 years coming out, and look at them and go back in if we need to put them back in.
So that, not on this calculation?
Not on that calculation, no. This was just to clearly show you, because I'm sure in people's heads, it's like, wait, it's 4 million too, but we're only putting away 1 million nine. We're clearly not at 100%, but we are because of the money that came back in.
So where do you calculate the ones that are aging that have to come back every 3 years and be?
We actually look at every single one every year. It's not like we just look at the older ones. We look at every year. We look at every one.
Just the 3 years required?
It's more than 3 years. It's required to bring it in and out. Yes.
Right. And so where's that math in this calculation?
It's not in that calculation, but you'll see it on your on the actual resolution. The money that's coming in are the ones that are older than 3 years. The money that's going out is the ones that are newer than 3 years. Sorry. They're going back in are the ones that said, yes, they have to go back, plus the new ones. It's the net of the new ones.
Thank you. That's my only question. Thanks. Thank you very much. I had corresponded with board members what items you're voting on today that are dependent on this particular presentation. There are several action items on today's agenda based on this tax calculation and this map. So,
Anybody else?
everybody's good?
Great job.
Thank you. Especially with the numbers coming in from the town pretty close to the meeting. Hence, this meeting is scheduled, just so everybody knows, at this time of the year, awaiting all the towns sending their figures.
They were actually on time this year, which was nice, but still, they sometimes they make changes, so we got
statement that the board would like to deliver before we invite our public to participate. Our board encourages public participation on school-related matters at our meetings. We have 2 times in our regular meeting agenda for public comment. The first one is prior to the action items. The second one takes place later in the agenda and is an opportunity to comment on any matter related to district business. According to Board Policy 1230, speakers should address their remarks to the board president. That would be me. While the board encourages public comment, the board will not permit any discussion concerning individual students or individual district personnel. Federal law requires that we ensure the privacy rights of our students, and we ask all in attendance to abide by that. For example, comments about a student's disciplinary record or entitlement to special education services pursuant to an IEP will not be permitted. In regards to district personnel, Board Policy 1400 provides that comments and/or concerns should be directed to the proper administrative personnel. References to a particular staff member who can be identified by his or her position title, even without mentioning the staff member's name, will not be permitted. The president is authorized to discontinue any comments that violate policies. Please help us follow policy as we should, and you're familiar with the duration of time, 3 minutes per speaker, with a 30-minute total for all speakers in each segment. So at this point, we open the mic to public participation on agenda items. On action items, sorry. Thank you. Who's the timekeeper? Do you guys want to keep up to 3 minutes? Thank you. Just give us a wave.
He went, since you're doing this properly, you might as well tell me when to go. I don't want to waste any seconds yet.
No, we'll let you know, but we just stopped putting the stopwatch because that was not a popular addition, so we're doing away with that. So somebody will give you a signal, and we'll let you finish the sentence or the...
Can we have a resolution on what the signal will be? Okay.
And please identify yourself. Go ahead.
My name is Michael Curley, and I guess I'm talking about number 2.32. And it could apply to many different things, but that's the one that applies here. As we all know, Rockland County BOCES had a pretty a bad thing with the school buses and the funds and the money missing and whatnot, or parts, buses were fixed wrong and stuff like that. So I just want to point out that, as you probably know and should know, that our attorney, I think you know his name, we have one attorney for the school district here, right? BOCES also has the same attorney. We're doing contracts with them, all right? I think you've got to reconsider that on who our attorney is or who their attorney is. You can't represent both Masters family fairly and represent the school district and the taxpayers. So I think you need to look into that strongly, all right? The, how much am I up to? All right? 1 minute. All right, good. The, I don't know, and again, I'm doing this because under 91.20.1, your thing, you asked the public to tell you this. So, I don't know if there's any whistleblower money. If there is, please send it on to me. But you really should consider this. Are you guys aware that you both have the same attorney?
Yes, we are.
Okay, all right. Well, I just point out, if someone's doing a house closing, the buyer and seller doesn't have the same attorney. If someone's doing a contract, the 2 different people don't have the same attorney. It's not in the best interest of the taxpayers, or even of the children, because you can't always give a good opinion of that. I'll also point out that not only should you have an attorney for the Board of Education and for the administration one, you should have a separate attorney for the Board of Education itself, because your concerns are not always the same concerns. As I sat here, I've been to 4 meetings in my life. As I sat here, I've seen a difference where you can have different understanding of what things are. And you're not going to get that from the same attorney, so I would strongly consider getting another attorney. We have a budget, I guess, of $135 million or more. Right? That budget is bigger than the town of Rampo budget, the village of Suffern, the village of Chesterfield, the village of Montebello, all put in one. So you're not doing the proper service to the taxpayers. So So you can do is you can break up the funds for that attorney and give it, see if someone else wants, all right? My main thing was you need separate attorneys for sure, and secondarily, people are starting to come to me now with concerns in this community, all right? And that's why I'm up here. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? Seeing there are none, I will close this segment of the agenda and we will move to action items. Action item 2.01 to 2.28. We are adding an item in 2.28. 2.38, I apologize. And that's an item that was shared with all board members regarding changing the number of NISBA convention attendees from the previously voted or moved 3 to 4, with the understanding that everybody's commuting and nobody's staying over since it's in New York City. So I'd like to add an agenda item. I guess it has to be a motion since it's not there. So I move to add an agenda item. You have authority to add it? Perfect. No.
So in discussion with the board about this, pursuant to policy 2521, it references that there has to be approval by the board for the payment of board training. And so under policy 2342, in terms of setting the agenda, I have the ability to add this agenda item unless the board objects. And so the item that will be added is a resolution that changes the number of attendees from 3 board members to 4 board members. Those being Don Karn, Melissa Reamer, Angus McKenzie, and Amani DeGane. And as Amani just pointed out, they will not be staying in hotels in New York City because they're close enough, bus, share a ride, train, however they get there, but they're not going to spend the night. So
take the school bus.
Yeah, school bus. So the resolution pursuant to 2521 will be posted that reflects going from 3 to 4 attendees.
This is required by the auditors. Teresa will concur that we take a vote, not necessarily with the names of who's attending conferences, but the number of people approved for a given conference. So thank everybody, my board colleagues, for agreeing to travel together and save some money so the 4th person can attend. These events are very helpful, and thank you for adding that to the agenda, Dr. Adams. At this point, I will ask if anybody would like to pull any items off a consent agenda.
I'd like to pull 2.05.
Okay, and just to clarify, you want to vote differently, that's why you're pulling it. Anybody else?
I just had a question on 3.01.
Did you say 3?
3.01.
Not there yet.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, not yet. So, and that's going to be information, so you'll be able to ask all the questions you want. Any other items to be pulled? So, consent agenda, you need a motion to approve 2.01 up to 2.04 and 2.06 up to 2.38. Anybody moving?
I'm sorry.
Motion?
2.39, the new item?
2.38 is the new item. 2.38 is a new item. There was a space holder for it, but it wasn't written. And we're now consent agenda of 2.01 to 04, and also 2.06 to 2.38.
So,
Thank you. Melissa Reamer. And second?
Second.
Ms. McKenzie, thank you. I'm just repeating them to help Heather here. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those abstaining? Any nays? None. So all in favor, unanimous. Now 2.05, we need a motion to adopt 2.05. Moved.
Second.
Mr. Donnelly, second. Any discussion? No discussion? So all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against? Nay. None. And one abstinent.
I'm abstaining from the vote because she's a family member.
Thank you. And the item is moved. Thank you very much. We now move on to information items. Tuition paying students is the first item on information items.
Everybody should have a handout for them. It looks like this. And this indicates, or I was asked to provide information on those students that are paying tuition. And so what you'll see on that printout are 19 names, 17 of which are actually paying tuition. The first row that's kind of highlighted in a fuchsia color is a student that had been attending Cherry Lane for several years. The family was commuting from New Jersey. They've now moved further away, and so the student is no longer attending Cherry Lane. The row that's highlighted in blue, the student was coming from Warwick to attend school here at the high school. The family has now moved into the school district, so that student will be attending our schools plus 2 of his siblings. And then the remaining 17 are students that we're expecting to enroll in school this fall. They've been approved to enroll. 8 of them will be attending Cherry Lane, so 8 of the 17 are at Cherry Lane. 2 will be at Montebello, 1 at Sloatsburg, 1 at Viola, 1 at the middle school, and 4 at Suffern High School. And that's on the flip side of the printout, although it's a couple of the letters are a little bit blurred there. So I've been asked to provide the information a couple of meetings ago, and it was pulled from the agenda last time. So this is the information current through last Friday.
Okay, we invite questions.
I just have one question. The rates that these people are paying are the rates that we adopted, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I have a question also. We have discussed the possibility of allowing tuition payment for our pre-kindergarten program. Are we allowing that, or I didn't see a vote on that?
That's something that the board is certainly permitted to do. Currently we have 7 openings at our pre-K, meaning that we pay approximately $200,000 for the staffing for pre-K, and we get about $2,700 per student per session, morning and afternoon, and students can't attend both sessions. So the $2,700 does not come close to covering the cost of the program. We had been approached by a couple of staff members that they're not residents of the school district, and they said, you're not receiving the money, you have an opening. If we paid the $2,700 instead of the state paying the $2,700, would you allow my son or daughter to attend school? And so that would be something for the board to consider, and it's something that if the board's interested in allowing that to occur, we could get up to 7 more people, which would offset our costs by, $17,000, $18,000, if all 7, but we don't have all 7.
I believe when the discussion came up on our August 9th meeting, the board decided to move ahead with allowing external non-residents to be tuition paying at the rate of $4,000 for our pre-K program. So we can go ahead and have that as an action item as soon as possible.
Okay?
Am I correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
I have a question also. Looks like there's 4 students that are coming from Tuxedo. Is that a result of our recruitment drive there and in Hoboken, or is that just?
1, yes, and 3 of them were former residents of the district. They moved at the end of the school year to Tuxedo, and now they'd like to attend school here.
Thank you.
So that's my follow-up question. How many of the 17 are actually residents who moved out and are wishing to continue in school? How many would you say?
Definitely 3, and I would have to check to see if there were
we can, I think it's an important figure to know how many of those were already in our district and moved out and are just coming back to our schools, and how many are brand new recruits that our marketing strategy is reaching out to, so that we can figure out in our strategic planning as a board how to improve our marketing and how to really reach out to more people, how we're doing. Because 17 is a great number, but if they were already our residents and are no longer, I don't know that I get excited about that figure.
Sure.
Just my
Understood.
Any other questions? Okay, great. So we'll follow up on that through strategic planning, procedures and plans for the future, because that's one of the most important things that we need to do. And there's another information item. So there's another statement. Today's my statements day that Board of Education would like to deliver. This is an item that has come up at many of our meetings for quite some time now. And Board of Education felt strong about some sort of information sharing with our public in order for everyone to be aware of the information that we learned as a board. Over the last 6 months, there has been a great deal of discussion concerning how the school district fills coaching positions for our various athletic teams. As a public school district, we have in place separate labor agreements with each of our 7 different groups, which together represent most of our employees. These contracts are required by New York State's Taylor law. The contract for each group has specific employment positions that belong exclusively to that particular group. The Board of Education is not permitted to appoint anyone to any of those positions other than a member of that particular group. Our largest bargaining unit, the Suffern Education Association, represents all of our teachers and teaching assistants, not only in the academic subject areas, but also regarding overseeing all extracurricular activities and coaching of athletic teams. The district's contract with the teachers unit requires that every coaching position for each of our sports be filled by a member of the teachers unit unless there are no members interested in the position. Despite numerous erroneous reports and contrary to speculation in our community, all coaching appointments for the current school year have been based on recommendations by the Superintendent of Schools to the Board of Education, consistent with the district's contract with the Suffern Educators Association and pursuant to the same process for the past 50 years of the Taylor Law. The role of the Board of Education is to collectively approve or disapprove of the recommendations put forward by the Superintendent of Schools within the constraints of the district's existing labor agreements. The Board of Education hopes that this statement sheds some necessary light on the processes and disperses any misconceptions regarding the role of the board. Members of the public are always encouraged to address any questions regarding this or any other board-related matter by email to boardofelducation@sufferncentral.org. Thank you. Next portion of our meeting is public participation on non-agenda items.
in reference to your statement, in reference to what can be said and what can't be said, I feel you're interfering with my First Amendment rights, and I think federal law stands on my side, not your side. And I will come back and I will test that with you. I will test it with you to show you're incorrect. All right? You can't take someone's First Amendment rights. You can't tell me I can't use a name when that name may be in a specific document in the school district. You can't refuse me to do that, just like you're using all these names tonight. You can't refuse me the same rights that you have. You can't, and I won't accept it, and I won't allow it. I will do whatever is necessary. And if you have to take the proper legal action, you will, and I will take the proper legal action. And I will file a lawsuit against you personally and this board. And I understand you don't care because it's taxpayers' money, but I don't care because it's principle.
To clarify the statement, the rights are always there for any member of the community to contact us if it's confidential information to protect students. Students are protected by the FERPA law. If it's to protect personnel, they are also protected by federal laws that we have to protect. So the statement just stated what laws and what policies, and we're happy to receive any issues or complaints from you, and we'll refer them to our...
I disagree with that was the first statement you made versus that statement. I disagree with you, and I hope you subtract the time when you talk.
Yes,
Okay.
time was long.
Okay.
Given back to you.
Okay. It seems that you're using executive session time, right? That shouldn't be used for executive session. Those issues should be discussed in the general public, whether the general public talks or not. They're called workshops. There are issues at executive sessions that you should use and go back and talk about, and I respect that and understand that. But you're using these, you come back and you say, oh, you get a chance to talk now. And you're not even talking about the items in front of us yet. You're not educating the people. There's got to be a more open government now, okay? We've seen enough of this in Ramapo, and we have to change. It has to change, and you have to be a part of that change. So it's a fault. So you're getting bad legal advice on that also, if that's legal advice you're getting. Two things, right? Now, I understand that we're talking about finances and we're concerned with taxpayers' money. I understand it was this lacrosse money that was missing, the money that the school system should have got, and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Can we get a report on that sometime? Can you fill us in on it, okay? Who's supposed to collect that money? If I'm right or if I'm wrong. But if it's out there, the public have a right to know. We saw this go on in Toronto for too long. And I feel like it's happening here now. Curtailing what we can say, having these secret meetings in the back where everything's discussed. That's not how meetings go in this country. And I won't stand for it. I already talked about the conflict of interest, and I think that's just plain. Okay. Now I will talk about, as we all may know, Mr. Biddy received a job from a college in county, and I wish him the best of luck on that job. Okay. Here we saw it as a community. Here we threw him to the garbage, and they saw go.
This is where I am, because we can't mention names.
What's that?
We cannot mention.
He doesn't work for this. He doesn't work for the school. He's retired. Go back to your state. Go back to your state. Well, good. But you're not protecting him, because that's not what he wants. All right? So Mr. Biddy found a job, okay, in a college in the county, and good for him. All right. We threw him in the garbage. We saw trash. They saw gold. Okay. We traded Babe Ruth. All right. I hope we look in our hearts and look in our souls and realize what we really did here. Okay. Because we were wrong. We were wrong as a community. We were wrong as a thing. And, I know Dr. Adams, I know you're in the military, in the Army, so was I. You should have been in the Navy because you lost control of this shit. Thank you.
Any further comments?
My name is Andrea Jaffee. I am a resident of Suffern.
Sorry, Ms. Jaffee, what's your first name?
Andrea Jaffee. I'm resident in Ramapo. I've spoken in front of the board many times, but for the benefit of the new members primarily, I would like to remind and educate the board that under Section 3635 of New York State Education Law, school districts are required to provide transportation in like manner to public school and non-public school students. About 2 years ago, the board and the district took a decision to curtail the district, and also to try to shore up or maintain the enrollment in the public schools. I'm here to tell you, to update you, that little strategy has failed. 426 homes were sold in Airmont in the past 3 years, 223 in 2017, 190 in 2016. So the numbers are going up for families who are not enrolling their children into your schools. And those are tax-paying families. And as you increase the tax bill by 2.93% this year, those families are going to be more and more aggravated by the fact that their children are being denied the services that are warranted by law and which are not provided. School districts provide late transportation to public schools. They are required by law to provide the same late transportation to private schools. They are not doing that. They are providing multiple buses and business times to go see schools under a single beds number. They are not providing the same transportation to private schools who have single beds numbers. Again, I would encourage you to take a page, look around, look to the east, see what has happened there, and being that school's starting, would like to say, here's a history lesson. Those who choose not to learn from history are doomed to repeat the mistakes that were made in history. You do not want to encourage a taxpayer revolt by denying services to what's going to eventually become the majority of taxpayers in this district. We are, we believe in the Bible, we will multiply, we're doing it, we're coming in, and you guys need to pay attention. So I would encourage you to review the policies, try to become compliant with the law. We're learning, we're changing, we're investigating, and it would be in the best interest of the school district to maintain your taxpaying body happily rather than unhappily. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Andrea Jaffee. School district. I'm going to keep my comments extremely short today. I know that we just discussed policy, but it seems like we selectively enforce which policies we're going to follow. We're talking about, that we can't mention names, or you can't mention, specific anything that might be identifiable. We're told to contact the board, or we're told to contact the administration, and we do. And those emails they just go unheard, or maybe they go heard, but they go unresponded. So it kind of puts everybody into a catch-22. If we'd like to follow the policy, and we would like to reach out to the school board, and we would like to reach out to the administration, and we don't get a response, it kind of puts the public into a quandary as far as how to handle their problems. I know that the school district, like I said, I know that we tout the fact that we have a very good school district here, and we do have a very good school district. If we would handle our dirty laundry, maybe, between the board and the administration, things might probably go a whole lot smoother for the district, and especially the parents, but more importantly, for the children that it affects. That, at this point, if you're not going to respond to an email to parents or whatever else, or trying to advocate for children or whatever else, I mean, they feel as though they're kind of on a ship floating and nobody's around. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You were 301.
Can we respond to that?
In response, I will respond. Every single email that has been received since July 10th by this board has been responded to. I can go back and forth, but I'm
No, but I think I still have.
By the Board of
20
Education.
seconds. I can tell you.
The board doesn't.
No, I
Every
can tell
single
you,
one.
and I do understand we're not going to go back and forth, but I can tell you that I've sent more than a half a dozen emails to the school board. Yes, it might not have been since July 10th. Listen, Dr.
It's a new board.
But you were on the board previously, so you definitely do know that, that you received those emails.
The board president responds on behalf of the board. I concur with the board members on how we're responding on certain issues. I also investigate with the legal team. I consult with the administration, and then I respond, so it's not overnight, just making the public, notice about that, but everybody gets a response.
Okay, so then what I'll do is I'll forward these emails that I had sent previously, and hopefully I can get a response to them. Thank you.
Me too.
ES21.
Thank you.
So I just, like I noticed, the first time for my daughter's transportation was March 28th. That was the day before the Jewish holiday. Now, they kept on telling me that they sent me through mail, January, February, March. I moved from Brooklyn. I did have issues with my mail. So I didn't receive it. The first time I received it was March 28th. Now, then the Jewish holiday came, I couldn't send it back. And I tried doing it online, and where I was, there was no internet. So I had no access. The first day that I submitted my application was the day after our holiday, which was after April 1st. So I kind of missed the deadline. But again, I didn't get any notice before. The first time I got it was March 28th, so I couldn't really give it March 29 because it was the Jewish holiday. So at this moment, I don't have transportation for my daughter. I've been fighting, I've been emailing people, and they're just like moving me from right to left. And my daughter's not in a week, and I don't have transportation for my daughter. Their bus does pass my block. I do have 3 neighbors that go on the bus, and I just don't have transportation. I feel like I'm talking to the wall, and I'm Jewish, I have a holiday, so that's why I couldn't get it in before. And I have proof that the first mail that I got was March 20th. So I really couldn't have, and they told me that they sent me on January, February, March. But I did again, I moved and I had issues with my mail, so I never received that. So I would like to receive transportation, hopefully from my daughter. Thank you.
Thank you. Kindly do send an email to the administration copying the Board of Education. Thank you. Any further comments? Being that I see no further comments, we will close this section of the agenda and we'd like a motion to adjourn. And actually, we're adjourning public session, going back into executive, so we're not fully adjourning the meeting. Motion to adjourn executive session to complete the discussion regarding items previously announced. I will actually read what they are. These items were read at the beginning of the meeting today at 5:30, but in the interest of transparency, we're going back to discuss certain ones that we didn't get enough time for. There were 8, 9, and 11. Is everybody okay with that? 8, 9, and 11?
5 and 6.
5 and 6. The items are reviewing with the superintendent of schools, letter from parent complaining about administrator, reviewing with superintendent of schools and attorney for Board of Education, legal issues pertaining to cross-country email, coach email to parents of student athletes, reviewing with superintendent of schools and attorney for Board of Education, legal issues pertaining to possible creation of director of school facilities position, reviewing with superintendent of schools and attorney for Board of Education, legal issues pertaining to public participation portion of, no, we covered that one. That one's done. And finally, reviewing with superintendent of schools attorney for Board of Education, legal issues pertaining to adding to board policy 2350, a board member comment section. Motion? Thank you. Melissa Reamer, and second. Ms. McKenzie. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you. Adjourn.